Hi, good morning, everyone.
Good morning, sir.
Yesterday we have discussed the two trade theories, comparative cost advantage and factor endowment theory. So today we shall discuss uh, product life cycle theory. So the second firm-based theory of international trade is the product life cycle theory. Raymond Vernon of the Harvard Business School developed the product life cycle theory. The international product life cycle theory traces the roles of innovation, market expansion, comparative advantage, and strategic response of global rivals in international manufacturing, trade, and investment decisions. That means product life cycle theory provides inputs for manufacturing, trade, and investment decisions. This theory is also called international product life cycle. As I told you, this is given by Vernon, Raymond Vernon of Harvard Business School. So it concerns about the stages of production of a product with new know-how. Know-how is a knowledge. It's a technology. So such a product is first produced in the 5E parent firm, then by its foreign subsidiaries, and finally anywhere in the world where costs are lowest. International product life cycle theory consists of 4 stages. Here, these 3 stages are given as new product introduction, first stage, growth is the second stage, maturing product is the third stage, declining stage, or otherwise here you have given new product, maturing, standardized product like that. So the same thing can be further classified into 4 stages: new product introduction, growth stage, maturing stage, and decline stage. This is the 4 stages of product life cycle. So in the first stage of a product, firms innovate new products based on needs and problems in a domestic country. So firms innovate new products based on needs and problems in the domestic country. If you see some of the examples, photocopier and the personal computer were innovated in the USA based upon the perceived need. The other US firms became the leaders in the production of frozen food, consequent upon the large kitchens, cheap electricity, and more number of working women. Similarly, French firms, they developed food packaging that would eliminate the need for refrigeration, consequent upon small freezer compartments. So these are some of the examples. So location of innovation. So if you see that location of innovation, Though the innovated product can be produced anywhere in the world and marketed in the domestic market, the firm mostly locates the manufacturing facilities in the domestic country to have immediate market feedback, to be able to modify and develop the product accordingly, and to save time and cost of transportation. About 95% of innovation, both products and technology, take place in industrially advanced countries. So this is mostly due to severe competition, customer demands, availability of research and development facilities, including scientists and engineers, financial ability of the firm, etc. So the location of innovations. When it comes to significance of innovation, innovation is the prime source of competitive advantage. We all know that. Leading firms innovate continuously and develop the products continuously in order to be on the forefront as innovations are imitated and copied. So the innovations can be in products, manufacturing process, and marketing the product. So developing countries can have the utility of innovations by importing either technology or products from the research and development intensive countries. So we have seen all these innovations in all these areas, innovations in the products, in manufacturing process, or in marketing of the product. Particularly the marketing of the products, this innovation is door delivery. You don't need to go to shop and buy it. If you on a click of moment you get whatever you want. That's an innovation in marketing of the products. So e-marketing, e-commerce. So these are certain things in significance of innovation. So during this stage, during this new product stage, the firms sell most part of their product in domestic country and a limited part in other countries. So as we have seen even in ethnocentric approach, companies produce goods for the domestic market. Part of it would be exported to other countries just to fatten their profits. But their intention of producing that product is not for exporting. That's for local consumption. But to make their financial condition good, to increase their profits, they export a small percentage of their produce to the other countries. Similarly, in the new product stage, most of the organizations do like that. So Microsoft, for example, sold most part of its innovated software in the USA and the remaining part in various countries, including India. So this is what happened in new product stage. And then again, another aspect is labor as a major input. So labor as a major input, production process at this stage, new product stage, is labor intensive. So this is because the product in this stage is improved based on consumer or customer feedback. I'll give an example, LG TV, Korean company. LG TV was modified more than 10 times during this new product stage. So the product is not yet standardized in this stage. Standard machinery and equipment to produce the product cannot be developed due to frequent changes in the product design. So as such, production during this stage is labor intensive. Even computer manufacturing was labor intensive during this stage. If you take America, United States of America pays one of the highest salaries in the world. It passes the highest labor cost to the customers who would be very eager to use the innovated product at this stage. So the Pentium 4 PC, which costs just rupees 20,000 today, costs rupees 1.5 lakhs during new product stage. So the customers who could not wait purchased Pentium 4 PC at rupees 1.5 lakhs during this stage, initial stage. So this is what labor as a major input. So feedback and development is another aspect in this stage. So the firm's marketing executives have to continuously get the feedback from the customers, and the production employees develop the product continuously. So these are the different aspects, that location of innovation, significance of innovation, labor as a major input, feedback and development are different aspects in this new product stage. This is the first stage of product life cycle. And the second stage is growth stage. Here you don't have that maturing stage you have. In between you have growth stage. The growth stage, increase in the sales of the new product attracts the competitors. So when a business is growing, many will look at that and join such type of, enter into such type of businesses. So increase in the sales of the new product attracts the competitors. At the same time, the increased awareness of the new product in various countries, particularly in advanced countries, increases the demand for the product. Added to this, further innovation in product, cost reduction, market process, etc. take place, resulting in increased capital intensity of the industry. So these three factors influence either the innovator or competitor, or both, to produce in foreign countries in order to attain lower cost of production, lower transportation costs, better quality of the product, and so on and so forth. So production in foreign countries mostly increases the sales in the foreign markets. So in the results in this growth stage are growth results in attracting competitors, increased exports, further innovation, shift manufacturing to foreign countries. These are the results of the growth stage. So these are the growth results. When business started growing, definitely it attracts competitors, exports will increase, further innovation takes place, and manufacturing facilities will be shifted to other geographical regions, that is foreign countries. These are the effects of growth stage. And when you come to the other stage, maturity stage, here maturing product is switching its strategy from production to market protection. So in this stage, worldwide production increases during this stage, along with the demand for the product resulting in decline in exports. So the increased competition results in increased product standardization and cost reduction. See, the production start gaining the economies of scale, reducing the cost of production per unit. So at this stage, the production takes place on large scale. Definitely firm will have the economies of scale, reducing the unit cost of production. So the lower per unit cost of production results in exports to developing countries, because developing countries look at the price. When unit cost decrease, those products can be sold in developing economies. The people, customers in developing economies can afford that low cost products. So at this stage, technology becomes standard. Therefore, the producers start locating their plants in developing economies in order to take the advantage of lower labor costs. I told you that now why the multinational companies or global or international companies, transnational companies shift their manufacturing facilities to other locations, to the locations where they can produce the lowest cost, where they incur lowest possible production cost. Because of that reason, to standardize the product, to survive in the business or in the market. So this factor further reduces the cost of production per unit and increases the competition based on cost. So the maturity results in various ways. One is standard products, large scale production and economies, then low unit cost of production, shift manufacturing to developing countries. So the results of maturity stage, what exactly happens during maturity stage of a product? So this stage maturity results in standard products, large scale production and economies, low unit cost of production, shift manufacturing to developing economies, developing countries. The same way we have seen growth results in attracting competitors, increased exports, further innovation, shift manufacturing to foreign countries, like that. Same way, even maturity of the product results in these things. And the last stage of the product life cycle is a declining stage. Decline or standardized products, either way you can put it. So markets at this stage products would be standardized, because many competitors enter into that business. To survive the competition, firm has to standardize its products by locating its manufacturing facilities to low cost production places. So the declining stage, markets for the product at this stage concentrate in less developed countries, as the customers in advanced countries shift their demand to further new products. Thus, most of the production plants at this stage locate in developing countries, and exports decline considerably at this stage. So even the original country may become net importer during this stage. Thus, the volume and direction of international trade come down considerably in this stage. So decline is characterized by location of manufacturing facilities in developing countries. Original innovating country becomes net importer. So these are the effects, results of declining stage. So the results of declining stage, and it is characterized by location of manufacturing facilities in developing countries, and even original innovating country becomes net importer. So suitability of this theory, product life cycle theory. So the tests conducted to evaluate this theory found that this theory was inconsistent for certain consumer durables, synthetic materials, and electronics. However, some studies have found that the production movements did not take place as predicted in the product life cycle model. This is what the product life cycle theory. So this consists of 4 stages: new product, growth stage, maturity stage, declining stage. So in the new product stage, location of innovations, significance of innovations, labor as a major input, feedback and development. So firms innovate new products based on needs and problems in domestic country in this stage. In the growth stage, this results attracting competitors, increased exports, further innovation, shift manufacturing to foreign countries, other locations. And maturity stage results in standardized products, large scale production and economies, low unit cost of production, shift manufacturing to developing countries. And in the declining stage, it is characterized by location of manufacturing facilities in developing countries. The original innovating country becomes net importer. So these are the effects of different stages of product life cycle. Let's now see the limitations of product life cycle theory. Some studies indicate that production movements do not take place as predicted in the product life cycle theory due to some limitations. These limitations are: production facilities do not move to foreign countries to achieve cost reductions due to short product life cycle consequent upon very rapid innovations. Because the changes are happening very fast, rapidly, innovation taking place. And these production facilities do not move to the other economies, other countries, because of short product life cycle. So why this product life cycle is short? Because of rapid innovation. That's one limitation of product life cycle theory. Then the other limitation is cost reduction has a little concern to the consumer in case of luxury products. So who buys luxury products? Who have purchasing capacity? Affluent class go for luxury products, and they do not mind the price of the product. They see the quality of the product. So they have a little concern over cost reduction. This is another limitation of product life cycle theory. And the other is exports may not be in a significant volume where cost of transportation is very high. See, because this transportation cost becomes part of your production cost. So here, if exports automatically involves exportation cost. So due to exportation cost, the cost of product will go up. So this export may not be significant in the light of transportation cost. Non-cost strategies like advertising may nullify the opportunity to move to foreign countries for cost minimization. So we have strategies, cost reduction strategies. All this. So these non-cost strategies, other than cost reduction strategies like advertising, may nullify the opportunity to move to foreign countries for cost minimization. So you have to spend a lot of money on advertising. Definitely it adds to the total cost of product. So that advertisement cost nullify the opportunity to move to foreign countries for cost minimum. The very purpose of shifting these manufacturing facilities to other locations or exporting products to other international markets is to minimize the cost. Right? So by advertising heavily, the cost of product, the total cost of product would go up. So that nullifies this move of the very intention of exporting or shifting manufacturing facilities to other locations. The requirement, another limitation of this theory is requirement of specialized knowledge or expertise reduce the chances of locating production facilities in foreign countries. For example, the production of medical equipment could not be shifted from the USA, and rotary printing process could not be shifted from Germany. So now USA is depending on other countries for medical manpower. This country is facing shortage of doctors. Now recently the Trump has announced that they would give green cards to doctors who who go to USA. It implies that there is a shortage of they are in high, doctors are in high demand in USA right now. The other limitation is the rapid technological development may not shift the production to various foreign countries. So when technology is changing very fast, rapidly, that brings so many changes in manufacturing. So this may not shift the production to various foreign countries. For example, microchip production, which moved to various countries, returned to the USA. So the globalization of world economies after 1990 enabled the transnational global companies to introduce innovations simultaneously in many countries where they operate. This is other limitation of product life cycle theory. Particularly after 1990, where the globalization has taken place, most of the countries have integrated with the global economy. This happened. So MNCs establish production process in many countries to take the advantage of raw materials, human resources, transportation costs, etc., but not based on the predictions of product life cycle theory model. So these are the various limitations of product life cycle theory. So various theories of international trade give us a general picture regarding the possibilities of international trade. So, but the actual decision about international trade is like taken by the individual companies. So now we shall think about why should why should the companies trade internationally? As global strategic rivalry theory is there. Why companies trade internationally? Now, if you see that global strategic rivalry theory, we have seen in the previous classes, international trade takes place between or among countries based on relative competitive advantage, but not countries' competitive advantage. So these are several theory, limitations of product life cycle theory. So product life cycle theory consists of 4 stages: new product, growth, maturity, and declining stage. And we have seen the results of all these stages of product life cycle. And another theory is Porter's national competitive advantage.